Hi, everyone. My name is Jennifer Tarr, and I was a housing student in the Bureau class of 2011. I want to tell you all about my first memory of Dave. It was him introducing himself at our 2L HLab orientation, and he made absolutely sure that we all had his email address and repeated it until we had no choice but to have it memorized. It was dgrossma@law.harvard.edu. Not Grossman, Grossma. And he said this over and over again. So insistent about it that my class ended up nicknaming him Grossma. I had no idea sitting there listening to this email address that Dave would become a mentor to me, or just how much I would learn from his teaching and his example. I think the clearest anecdote that I can give you all about what I learned from Dave is when I argued in front of the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court in my 3L year. Dave and Esme were phenomenal in mooting with me until I had all of my answers down pat. And the weekend before the argument, Dave patiently picked up his home phone probably a dozen times because I kept calling with new questions that I had come up with because I was so nervous. But what happened after the argument is what showed me so much more than Dave's brilliance and his extreme willingness to help his students and his clients. My case was only the second foreclosure case to make it up to the SJC, and it was the first with a client who was a member of City Life. I didn't notice when I nervously walked into the courtroom, but at least 20 dedicated City Lifers were there to watch the case. After the argument, I walked outside and I talked to many of them, who congratulated me. But Dave pulled me aside after the argument, and he said that we should go into a side room to debrief. It was one of the most powerful things I've ever done. Dave intuitively understood that one of the most important things a lawyer can do is to empower a client to be in charge of their own story. That it wasn't just about one client or about me doing well in that argument. It was about the movement. It was about the 20+ people who had come to support us and to take part in the legal and political process, to see and understand the law in action. And that's what I want to talk about. I work for an environmental nonprofit, and I use so many of the lessons that I've learned from Dave. But one of the things that's inherent somewhat in the current environmental movement is that it's not movement-based. It's not based in community the way that what we did at the Bureau and what is continued to be done at the Bureau is movement-based. It's not empowering in the way that Dave's model is empowering. And in working in both fields, I see just how important it is that client and community are empowered. At Dave's funeral, Steve Meacham, Dave's partner at City Life, challenged us to continue Dave's work, to continue the fight for social justice wherever we may be, and to continue empowering communities to fight for change. It's a challenge that I pass on to all of you. I have been completely honored to work with the Grossman family and with many alumni and colleagues to help start the David Abraham Grossman Fund for Social Justice. The David Abraham Grossman Fund will provide fellowships and grants for law students and lawyers to partner with community organizations to continue the innovative partnerships that Dave worked so hard on, and to help empower communities through the law. I hope that in some small way, the fund will be able to help fill Dave's enormous shoes. And I hope you will all join us in helping to get there. If you have any questions, please find me or any of the whole host of people who are currently working on the fund. If you guys could all stand up, that would be great. Rue, you're working on it too. Come on. You can also get more information from information we have at the door or from our website, davidgrossmanfund.org. If you're like me, you're sitting here right now feeling sad and yet so profoundly grateful to have worked with and to have known Dave. So please channel that feeling into action. Help out the David Abraham Grossman Fund. Go to a City Life rally. Volunteer in your community. Try to help heal the world, even if it's just one small step at a time.